All right, so welcome, Maddie. I forgot to send an email to everybody else, but I did send the announcement, and date and time. So if other people want to join, they can. So tonight I'm going to step through the practice 6 assignment. Do you have the instructions with you?
Yes.
Okay, and so chapter 5 and chapter 6 are due tonight, and then on Saturday you have the making selections, the chapter 6, and and the muddiest point. Do you have any specific questions before we get started?
I did, but it's not for this lesson. It's for the number 5.
For chapter 5 or the last assignment we just did?
Oh no, for chapter 5 one.
Okay.
So you know how like we can submit it, and so you have like a specific like the rubric.
Yes.
For the skyline one.
Yes.
Actually, so you know how we have to put the levels adjustment layer on
Yes.
it? But then on the book, after we add it, it says that we have to flatten the image afterwards.
Correct.
So that's fine, right?
Yeah, totally. For that one, it's okay to flatten it. I don't expect to see anything. You're doing a lot of different little mini projects, so I only have you submit 3 of them, and they have you do a lot of flattening in there, so I'm okay with that for this assignment.
Oh, okay. Then I was like, I don't want to lose points.
You wouldn't. You could submit it either way, and you would earn full points. I would do that but students have done it both ways because I know I say never flatten anything, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Then that's good. That's about it then for the questions.
Okay. All right. So, all right. I've downloaded all of the start files for the assignment tonight. So we're actually going to wind up creating 4. There's 3 files to start with, but you're going to create one of them from one of the existing files. So do you have the first start file open?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to do a screen share. Okay. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So tonight's lesson, the practice 6 project, you're actually going to do a couple different things, but it's working with, so we're going to work with selections and layers. We're also going to learn about masks tonight and how to create a mask and what those can be used for. And we're going to play around with colors and how to use colors differently within Photoshop. So now at this point in the class, what's happening is you've now worked on the basics, selections and layers, and now you're going to start putting them all together and start learning more special effect things that you can do, and then just continue to practice all those pieces together. It's like you have the basic ingredients for a recipe, and you're just going to keep putting them together in different ways and different amounts and see what you come up with and what you come out with.
Okay.
Okay. So layer masks are super important. That's the first thing we're going to talk about. They're super powerful, I should say. You can do so many things with them. And mask is basically a window. Okay. It's a window to that you can put into your image. And so with this assignment that we're going to do right here with the wedding couple, I'm going to show you how masks works, how we can have different images pop through. So the first thing we want to do is we want to save this file and rename it with your name at the end of it. Okay. I'm going to turn off. Don't show this again because I don't want to see that again. Okay.
Okay. My Photoshop is loading.
Okay, that's fine. I wonder if I should. Hold on a second. Let me go send an email to the class right now, just in case anybody's online while yours is loading. Okay, did your file load up?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so what I want you to do is we're going to go ahead and change the workspace to photography. So up to this point, we've always been working with essentials. So we're going to choose photography, and you'll see that that changes. It just gives you access to different tools. Okay. And I always like to make my toolbar over here on the left. I always click that little chevron and make it 2 columns. It's just easier for me to see what's going on.
Okay.
Okay, so we have 3 layers. We have the couple layer, we have a white cake and a red cake. All right, go ahead and turn on the white cake layer and also make it the active layer. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to scale or change the size of this. So remember, if we don't select anything on a layer, everything is selected. So I don't need to select anything. I can, because this is the active layer, white cake, I can just go to Edit, Transform, Scale, and it automatically picks everything on this layer. And I say on the options bar, change the width and height to 43%. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And so it should change it. Go ahead and pick the move tool and then drag the cake to the left side of the image. So it's kind of covering the bride mostly.
Okay.
Okay. And now what we're going to do is, so what I do in the assignments from, well, what I've done in all of them, but I try to like add little extra steps just to show you where different things are. So I'm going to show you how you can flip something. So if you go, which we did in another assignment, go up to Edit, Transform, and we're going to choose Flip Horizontal, and that flips the cake around. And the reason I'm doing that is I don't want the wine glass to be a part of what we're doing.
Okay.
Okay, and so what I'm going to do is then I'm going to take the cake and I'm going to continue to move it over here to the left. So now it's just filling kind of this left side of the screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Save your file.
Okay.
Oh, Andrew's here. I see we have a new guest. Hi, Andrew.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, welcome. Do you have the
All right,
file
I'm getting-
open? Are you going to be able to follow along with us?
Yeah, I'm opening it right now.
Okay. We'll wait a few minutes for you to get caught up. I can walk you through the steps.
Okay.
Let me know when you have the file open.
Okay.
So Maddie, can you believe we're only in week 3? But if you were taking this in the normal semester, we'd be in week 6 by now.
What?
Yeah, we are so far into the class. It's crazy what you guys are working on right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you guys are like, it's crazy, but you guys are handling it. You guys are the ones who are doing the work and keeping up are doing extremely well. So.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, right.
My Photoshop seems to be taking a while.
Okay. Are you able to see what I have on my screen?
Yes.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll keep going through this because the next assignment isn't, I can always come back to this and walk through it with you again at the end.
Okay.
Or you can just watch what we're doing.
I can watch for now.
Okay.
That's fine.
You might need to reboot your computer is the reason. So sometimes, I don't know, mine was running kind of slow earlier as well, but all right. So we have, just to get you caught up to speed, Andrew, we have 3 images in this file, and I'm about to talk about what layer masks are. And layer masks are basically creating windows or peekaboo, or like a mask. You know, a mask would cover part of your face and let like your eyes to show through. It's the same concept here. So what we did was we turned on the white cake layer, we resized the image, we made it smaller, we flipped it, and we moved it over to the left, and that's where you joined us. All right, Maddie. So what we're going to do now is with the white cake layer selected, go up to the layer pull down menu.
Okay.
And choose layer mask, hide all.
Okay.
Now tell me what happened.
A black square appeared next to the cake layer.
Exactly. That black square, that is called a mask. So you know how layers are on top of each other within, red cake is on top of white cake, which is on top of couple. This layer mask is actually living on top of the cake itself within this layer. And so a layer mask doesn't work with color other than black, white, and gray. And so whatever pixels are black are hidden, and whatever pixels are white shows through. Okay?
Okay.
So sometimes it's easier to see this as an example. So what we're going to do is I want you to pick the elliptical marquee tool. Okay.
Okay.
And on the options bar, I want you to set the feathering to 15 pixels. This is going to create a fuzzy edge. Okay.
Okay, got it.
And now I just kind of want you to eyeball over here to the left where you know the cake is, and I want you to just drag an oval circle down and to the right, and you should get a selection, right?
Yeah.
Now, with your selection, go to Edit, Fill, and choose White from the drop-down list, and click OK.
So Edit,
Fill, and choose White.
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 Okay.
Did you get it?
1 second. Huh?
Are you on the right layer?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I'm just trying to pick the color, but it's not showing me.
You went up to Edit, Fill, and then from the Contents menu,
Yeah.
white should be the last one at the bottom. Okay, that noise tells me there might be another something open in the background, another dialog box. You have another box open somewhere else?
Oh, right here. I found it.
Ah, hey, I was right.
Yeah, it's because actually I have like 2 screens open. So I was trying to find where it was, and it's on the second screen.
Got it. Because when you move Photoshop around, different menus live on the other monitor. That happens to me too.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Woo! Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did you fill it with
Okay.
white?
Yeah.
So you see how the cake is showing through?
Yes.
And do you see how there's kind of a fuzzy edge around it?
Yeah.
Okay, now look in your layers panel, and that layer mask, you should see the black and then the white circle. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
So do you kind of understand what's happening? The white is the peekaboo hole. It's the see-through, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what a mask is. You can use masks for so many things. So whatever is white, you can see, and whatever's black, you can't. So if you have gray, which is actually that fuzzy area, that's how you get that kind of diffused look. And you can use masks for so many things in Photoshop. Hi, Winter. I know you can hear me. I don't see your speaker on. How are you? Oh, it went away. Oh, she went away. Okay, maybe she'll come back. Okay, so now let's just break this down a little bit. If you look in the layers panel, do you see the little link between the two?
Yeah.
Okay, right now they're connected. If you click on that link, right, and that disconnects them. And I want you to turn off your selection, Control D, right? I want you to click on the actual cake picture, right?
Okay.
And then you go to your move tool, and you could move the image around in the peek hole.
Oh.
right? Maybe you didn't like the placement. Maybe I want the glass of wine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If I link them, if I turn that link back on,
Okay.
and I go to the mask layer, I can now move the actual piece around, right?
Yeah.
The unit. Okay, so they are, it's another layer inside a layer called a layer mask, and you can work with them individually as well.
Okay.
Okay, now as you start to, and this for everybody watching this, as you start to get more in depth with Photoshop, you're going to see that some of the things that you create, a lot of the adjustment layers that you add and different special effects automatically create a layer mask to help build whatever special effect you're working on. So that's what that black and white it does. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Save your file. Andrew, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Were you able to open up Photoshop?
Yes. Yeah, it's open now.
Were you able to follow along and get it all done?
Not yet.
Which step are you on?
Let's see, the transforming the cake.
Okay.
Um,
So you just want to be on the cake layer and go up to edit, transform.
and it's
And I think I did 47% for the width and the height.
Okay, 47.
And one of the things I keep emphasizing with everybody is when you don't select anything on a layer, everything is selected. So we didn't select anything on the white cake layer before we transformed it. So so Photoshop knows to just do everything on that layer. Okay.
Yep.
Then grab your move tool and move the cake to the left side of the screen.
Okay.
I'm going to go backwards in time, Maddie, and help Andrew get caught up. So let's see. Okay. So you're at this part, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we moved it over. Now go up to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. And it just, so I was saying earlier, you can, I'm going to show you all kinds of extra tips and tricks in all of these projects. And what's happening is I don't want to include the wine glass in what I'm doing. That's why I flipped it. And then I'm going to use my move tool and kind of move the cake now to fill the left side of the screen.
Okay.
Okay. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, while you're still on the white cake layer, go up to Layer, Layer Mask, Hide All. And you'll see that it added this layer mask that I've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so layer masks work with white, black and white and gray. And so whatever is filled with black hides. So it's like a mask, literally like a face mask would be on top of this. And whatever's filled with black on the layer mask hides below it. And whatever's going to be filled with white will allow it to show through.
Okay.
Okay, so we are still on this layer mask. See how it's outlined here? That means that's what's active. We're going to choose the elliptical marquee.
Okay.
And you're going to set the feathering to 15 pixels on the options bar.
Okay.
Okay, and then you're just going to draw an ellipse over here on the left-hand side of where, kind of where the cake is. Okay.
Okay.
Then you're going to go to Edit, Fill, and choose white from the contents menu and click OK. Do you see the cake show through?
Yep.
And do you kind of look over here in your layers panel? Do you see how you have the black and the white, and you see the white circle kind of matches up with the white circle here in the actual image?
Yes.
Okay, so these two items are linked together. So we can deselect this, Control D, okay?
Okay.
And then if we unlink these two, we turn this link icon off in the layers panel, and then I click on the actual layer that has the cake. Now I'm just working on the cake layer and pick the move tool. I can move the cake in that little window. right? If I wanted the wine glass to be here, it could be, right?
Okay.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
Maybe it didn't have a, maybe it didn't have it positioned perfectly. If I turn the link back on and I select the mask layer, now when I move it, I'm actually moving that window and everything along with it, wherever I want it to be. They're connected.
That's cool.
Yeah, right?
Didn't know about that one.
Huh?
Oh, I just said I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, it's really powerful and really kind of cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, save your file. And Maddie, we are back at the same place. So we're going to keep moving. All right. So here's the next cool thing I like to do. It's called a clipping mask. And a clipping mask, what that does is allows you to take a picture and fill that picture into a shape. Okay, so a little bit different than what we did here. And again, it makes sense by doing it through an example. So, the first thing I want to do is we're going to choose the text tool. And then I want you to choose a thick font. So I picked Gill Sans Ultra Bold. Do you see how this is a thick? It's got it's really thick, right? So it's got space to, change what's inside of it. You can pick any font you like on your computer. Just make sure it's kind of thick, like one of these, right?
Yeah.
All right. And then I set the font size to 50 up here in the options bar. And then I'm going to click somewhere above the couple's head one time to set the insertion point, and I'm going to type "come and get away." All right. Now I'm not going to press enter because when I do that, in this case, I have it set that I could keep typing, and I don't want to do that. So if I just want that one line of text, when I'm done typing, I'm going to click my move tool. That turns the text tool off, and I can move this around wherever I want. And whatever color it's filled with, it doesn't matter right now because we're actually going to put a picture inside of it. So then go ahead and click your move tool and move your text wherever you like. Let me know when you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right, so we can do we can change so many things about everything in Photoshop. So if we wanted to modify this text a little bit, what I could do is I can come up to Window and turn on the Character panel. It's just called Character, okay, and that flies out right here. And characters are basically individual letters or symbols. Paragraph deals with a whole chunk of text. You can do all kinds of indents and alignments, center, right? Within the character panel, I can change all kinds of things about the text. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the tracking here. I said change the tracking to 50. That'll be the space between letters. You can type in a number, or if you hover your cursor over the symbol, I think this is kind of cool. You can actually scrub to the left or scrub to the right, right? And you can change how far apart or how spaced apart the text is, right? So I said 50 or 40, but you can do whatever you like, okay?
Okay.
All right, and then I might position it a little bit more. So a habit I'm talking to anybody watching this, one habit that everybody should get into when you are using Photoshop is you need to spell check every word you type into your document. Even if you know it's spelled right, you should still run the spell checker, okay? And so here's an easy way to run the spell checker. In the layers panel, so whenever you type text, it's always vector based, okay? And whatever text you type, in this case, come and get away, that'll be the name of the layer. An easy way to select the text, here's a little shortcut, is if you double click this T icon right here, that will select all the text and turn on the text tool.
Okay.
Right, so sometimes it's easier to select things just because you know where it is in the layer, right? Once you have the text selected, you can right click on that text and choose check spelling. And it should come back spell check complete. Okay?
Okay.
Save your file.
How to like how to edit the text.
You want to like change what's the text inside of it?
No, I know how to change that. I mean, like, you know, the A tool on the sidebar? By the
Character
close-up
panel?
Yeah, it doesn't appear on mine for some reason.
It doesn't have what?
It doesn't appear on mine.
Go up to Window and choose Character from the drop-down menu.
Okay. Oh, got it.
So yeah, all these panels can be found under the Window pull-down menu. That's actually really good question.
Okay. Okay, got it.
Awesome. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is I want you to turn on the red cake layer and make it the active layer.
Okay.
And then on the red cake layer, we're going to go to Edit, Transform, Rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. That will turn it so that the roses are at the top of the screen. And then with your Move tool, just kind of position it so that the roses are covering up the text. Because what we're going to do is we're literally going to place the roses petals inside that text.
Rotate 90 degrees.
Counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise. Okay. Got it.
Got it. And then with your Move tool, you can kind of move it. And then there's two ways to do it. I'm going to show you both ways to do it. The first way to create a clipping mask, we're going to turn the red cake layer into a clipping mask, is to right click on the red cake layer and choose, voila, create clipping mask. And do you see what happened?
Yeah.
Right? You got roses inside the letters.
Yay.
Yay. Couple things you should note. Notice how this layer got indented over here. Let me make this bigger, right? And you should see this little bent arrow. That bent arrow tells you it's a clipping mask.
Did you right click on the layer or the thumbnail?
You can right click on the, okay, so let me go backwards in time.
Layer.
It doesn't matter.
I got it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're on the layer or the thumbnail. You should get the same options. Okay. Now I went back, I undid it. Here's the other way. Here's the keyboard shortcut. With the red cake layer selected, I'm going to hold the Alt key down and then I'm going to click on the on the line between the two layers, and you'll see that bent arrow. That's telling you you're about ready to make a clipping mask. Okay, and so I can use my Move tool on the red cake layer, and I can move the roses around to get exactly what I want, right?
Yeah.
All right, Control S. All right, the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to add a special effect. We're going to add a vibrance layer so we can just change the coloring of how something works. So go ahead and make the couple layer the active layer. And then you're going to add a vibrance adjustment layer, and that's the one that actually looks like a triangle.
Got it.
Okay, and the settings I picked were, for vibrance, I picked -100, which kind of turns it almost black and white, like it becomes super washed out. And then the saturation is going to be 38. All right, and it kind of intensified her skin color, but you still got this kind of washed out white, bridal look.
Got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
You can make it however you want. I'm just showing you it's an adjustment layer. And do you see how it has a layer mask here on the adjustment layer?
Yeah.
And it's filled with white. So what's happening is you're getting this kind of layer mask filled with white, but then it has some kind of settings inside of it to make it look different. Okay?
Okay.
All right, save it, and you may close your file. All right?
Okay.
All right, the next thing, so I'm on now page 5 of the assignment. Go ahead and open up the JPEG. Open the Practice 2 JPEG. Where is my Practice 6 mini lesson 2, sorry. It's the shoe. Somebody walked into my office today. They're like, "Oh, are you shopping?" I go, "No, I'm preparing my lesson for tonight." So, and then go ahead. This is a JPEG. If you want to be able to have access to all of the different tools in Photoshop, you should always resave this as a Photoshop file. So I'm going to go ahead and choose File, Save As. I'm going to choose PSD from the drop-down menu, and I'm going to add my name to the end. Okay.
Do I leave mini lesson 2 on it and then just add my name after that?
Yeah, just go ahead and add your name to the end of it is fine, as a PSD file.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so what I was going to say was on page 4, for you and anybody else watching this, I want you to read through this information. Is very useful. It's really important. It talks about how color works inside Photoshop. We have 3 different color models we typically use or talk about. We have RGB, which is works with digital like monitors and computers, things like that. You've got the CMYK color model, which deals with printing, and then grayscale, which is could be either, but it only deals with black and white and all the shades of gray in between. Okay, and so then I give you a little information about how bits work and how much information is encoded, and you know it all comes down to pixels, which are the little squares on your monitor. And Photoshop, I always say Photoshop is just pushing pixels around and manipulating them and applying math to them. Everything has a numerical value in Photoshop, and so everything that goes behind the scenes is math, all kinds of crazy mathematical equations and combinations. So go ahead and make sure you read through that. So what we're going to do here is we have a picture of a shoe, and I'm going to show you a technique of how we can select this and change its color. It's going to be quick and dirty. This does not have to be perfect. Okay. So when I teach this, what I always ask students is, I want you to select the shoe. Okay. And you can use whatever selection technique you want. So Andrew and Maddie, what tools would you use to select the shoe?
Probably the magnetic lasso tool.
Okay, so Maddie wants to use magnetic lasso, which you're going to draw around it. Definitely a good choice. All right, Andrew, what would you use?
I think I would use the polygonal.
Polygonal. Okay. So
Yeah.
you're going to use a polygonal. Okay. Still a good choice, but it's not remember, polygonal lasso. So I'm just going to, don't do it. Both of you just wait. So
Okay.
the polygonal lasso, if I use that, it's giving me all these straight edges, right? Oh, but the shoe isn't straight, it's curved, right? So that makes it a little bit harder, right? And I'm doing this super fast. Clearly I'm not doing a good job. I'm exaggerating how bad this would be, right? So it kind of selected the shoe, but now I'd have to come in with my lasso tool and fix that, right? And we learned last week I can add to my selections and I can delete from my selections, holding Shift and Alt. Okay, and I could do that. Control D. Maddie, yours was a little bit better. I could use magnetic lasso and drag it along the edges, and now I'm going super fast, and obviously I'm not doing a very good job. Boom, same thing. That was pretty good. I'd have to come in and fix it. Let me show you both something that would be faster, because ultimately it's all about making money, doing things precise but quickly. I would use the quick selection tool because that picks based on color and it looks for hard edges. So because this shoe is mostly one color and it's pretty defined between the background and the shoe, all I have to do, and I want to make sure that I have add to selection up here on my options bar so that if I click and let go of my mouse and I click again, everything gets added to it. And I could just come in here and click a little bit. Look at that, right? And then I could come over here and click. I just literally clicked. I didn't even drag. And I can click, 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 click. Look at that. How fast did that go? What do you guys think of that?
It's pretty fast.
Pretty fast, right? So you could, I'll wait if you guys want to use the lasso tools, or you could use the quick select tool.
Quick select tool.
Quick select. Doesn't work for everything, but in this case, it works really well because everything is mostly one color. So it's easy for Photoshop to find those edges. And you don't have to have the sole, that's okay. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I know it didn't get all the edges. This is just for playing, for practice. Okay? Let me know when you guys have your selections.
All right, I'm ready.
I have it done.
Okay, so now we have our marching ants. Here's an important thing, that I teach. Let's say you still had a lot of work to do. I'll come in here and grab this ledge, right? I have to walk away from my computer. I might have to save this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to have to remake my selection. Well, what you can do is you can actually save the selection so you can load it later. So if you come up here with the marching ants active, come up here to the select menu and choose save selection. Okay. And I'm going to type shoe right here in the name and click OK. All right.
Okay.
And then go Control D to deselect.
Got it.
Now, if you want to load that selection back up, I can come up here to select, load selection, and from the channel menu, choose shoe, and click OK, and it reloads it.
Nice.
Right? So you can save selections within a document so you can reuse them later or add to them or do whatever you need to do. Okay. We've always been working in the layers panel. I realized I skipped a step. We have been working on the background layer. Okay, everybody Control D, turn off your selection. And I forgot to duplicate our background layer. Let's go ahead and duplicate that. So the way I like to do it, you can right click and choose duplicate, or you can drag it over the new layer icon and that makes a duplicate. And I'm going to call it color practice. I got ahead of myself, sorry.
I was wondering, why does this seem weird for some reason, but I couldn't catch what it was.
I know, right? I go so fast, I forget things. So, and I should stop and slow down. I should listen to myself. Okay. All right. So when you save a selection, that actually gets saved as what's called an alpha channel. So go ahead and click on the channels tab right here next to the layers tab. And you'll see this image is what we call an RGB image, and every color, red, green, blue, is saved in its own channel. If you were to turn the eyeball off next to red, what that does is it turns off all the red pixels. So I only have green and blue. Okay. If I turn the eyeball on to red and turn off green, now I've only got red and blue, right?
Yeah.
So color information is saved inside channels. And then if you have an alpha channel, a save selection, that's what this is called. This is called an alpha channel called shoe, which you can see it's the outline that you saved. Okay. If you turn that on, you can see that everything else gets masked out, and I could just work on this shoe image right here in the channels if I wanted to deal with colors. We do more stuff like this in the advanced class working with channels, but I'm pointing it out. But it's definitely important that you know that any save selections are also called alpha channels. All right, I'm going to turn off. So your channels panel should look like this, just the 4 eyeballs next to each of the colors and then the main channel. Go back to your layers tab.
Okay.
Okay, go to select, load selection, and choose shoe from the drop-down list and click OK. And so we're going to reload that selection that we made.
Got it.
All right, so now that we have a selection, whatever we do is going to happen inside these marching ants. So here's just some special effects, some little tricks I can show you. Go up to image, adjustments, photo filter. Okay. And then from the filter, from the pop-down list, I want you to choose magenta. Okay, so you can see that it added purple in this case, or magenta, to the shoe. And if I increase the density to 75, right, it gets really pink. Click OK. So I can take it, I know I didn't grab this little piece here, but this is one way, you know, if you were doing an advertisement for something and your car was blue and you need to make it red, this is one way to do that. That's a very simple example, and you can really see the difference here in the two layers. You have the pink one and you have the original, right?
Yeah.
If we go up to edit, fade photo filter, and drag the slider back or type in 58%, now we get a more muted version of that. Okay? So those are just two little special effects that you can know how to easily change color on something. All right, save your file and turn off your selection.
So we fade it?
I did. I mean, if you didn't want to, you don't have to. I went up to image, fade photo filter. Excuse me, edit. It was fade photo filter.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Got it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna make another PSD file from this. So everybody go File, Save As, and this one's going to be called Practice 6 Mini Lesson 3. So this is the third one we create. Save.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to change the color mode of this to grayscale. So everybody go to Image, Mode, Grayscale. And what happens is it's basically going to get rid of everything color and only give us black and white and all the shades of gray in between. So to do that, you have to flatten the file. Well, we're going to flatten the file. So you're going to click Flatten. And then it's going to say, are you sure you want to get rid of all the color? Yes. And what flattening does is it merges all the layers back to a background layer.
Okay.
Okay, I know, right? You're probably like, but you always told us not to do that. Yes,
Yeah.
but sometimes some tools, that's the only thing, you don't have a choice. You might have to do that. And I will tell you, especially if you take the second level class, at some point, you'll be working on a file. Ooh, excuse me. You'll be working on a project. And what you'll do is you'll take your file and maybe you'll go File, Save As, version, date, right? You kind of make a copy of everything you've worked on. And then you'll take the second copy and you'll merge all the layers. You'll merge everything into one. And then you'll take that piece and put it into another Photoshop file. So sometimes you do need to merge things. The reason I don't want you to do it for my class is I need to grade your layers. That's why I don't have you do that, because I can't grade. I won't know what you did if every time you turn something in is merged.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, so we turn this to grayscale. Just real quick, just to look, go ahead and choose the channels tab, and you can see in grayscale you only have one channel of color, gray, and then but we still have that selection, that shoe selection we made is still part of this Photoshop file. What do we call this this channel layer? What's it also called?
The alpha channel.
The alpha channel. That's very good. You might see that in the future on the test, right? I'm emphasizing it. So definitely the two people here, you'll hear that again. All right, go back to the layers panel. Now, I know this is going to seem kind of silly, but we're going to turn this back to a color image, all right? So that we can take a black and white image and colorize it. So go up to Image, Mode, and choose RGB. You see basically no difference, but if you go to the channels, you'll see, oh, there are all my color channels again. All right?
Okay.
But what you can do is you have a black and white image that we can actually add color to. And so we're going to play with gradients. And a gradient is just two or more colors that blend into each other. Okay? And so you can create your own gradients, and that's what we're going to do here. So the first thing I want you to do is go up to Select, Load Selection, and choose, oh, wait a minute, cancel. Do we need to duplicate the image?
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead and drag the background layer over the new layer. And we're going to call this one, what do we call it?
Rainbow.
Okay, we'll call it rainbow. I don't even think that's in the instructions, but we're going to do that. Whoops, we don't want this. Rainbow. She's so you're so excited, Maddie. Of course we'll call her rainbow. Why not? All right. I love it. All right, so on the rainbow layer, go to select, load selection. Actually, for those watching this later, that was an extra added piece. So we added the extra layer, no problem. I'm going to choose shoe from the drop-down menu and click OK. But I skipped a step. I actually wanted you to go to select, load selection, and choose this invert option.
Oh.
Try again. Select, load selection, shoe, choose invert. And what happens is it selects everything except the shoe, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Control D. We'll do it again. Or I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go, this time I'll do select, load selection, shoe. I'm going to just click OK, because then I can come back up to select and choose inverse up here. It's also in the drop-down menu. That's how I'm used to doing it. That's why I always forget to click that little button. And what happens is it selects everything except the shoe or outside the shoe. Okay?
Oh.
I use select inverse a lot in a lot of things I do. Sometimes it's easier to select what isn't there than what is there, right? Or whatever my object is, it might be easier to select everything except the object.
Okay.
I know. Oh, I'm making you guys yawn. Sorry. I know. All right. So now go ahead and come over here to, so this is your foreground. So in your tools panel, you always have two colors to work with. The top one is called foreground. The background, the one below is called background. If you click this little default foreground background, go ahead and click that. That changes it back to black and white. Sometimes I like to do that to reset things. And then I'm going to click on the foreground. That opens up the color picker. And I'm going to pick a color. Pick any color you want. Click OK. And then click the background swatch and pick a different color. I'm going to pick orange. Okay, so I have pink and orange. You can pick any two colors you want. Okay.
Okay.
Let me know when you guys have your colors loaded up.
I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now on the tools panel, I want you to select the gradient tool. It literally looks like a gradient, right? It's a gradual blend between colors. And then up here on the options bar, so this is the gradient tool. If you pop this arrow down, you have all different kinds of gradients you can pick. The first one is our foreground to background. That's the preset. That's the one we want to use. And then you can do radial, linear. You do all kinds of weird patterns. We're just going to use linear. And then watch what I do. With my active selection, I'm going to place my cursor in the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to click, hold, and drag down and to the right and let go. Do you see how it filled with color?
Yeah.
The gradient?
Yeah.
Okay. If you do it again, any direction, if you make the line short, do you see how the blend between the two colors is shorter? The longer the line, the more it gradually changes, right? Think about like a sunset or a sunset, and you want to gradiate the colors down, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, whatever you're at, go ahead and save your file.
Okay.
All right, and now what I want you to do is we're going to edit the gradient. We're going to add another color. So in this case, I'm going to add another color between the pink and the orange. So I'm going to click on that gradient. I'm just going to click in the center of this gradient tool up here, and that brings up the gradient editor.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
So you should see whatever your colors are, right? Mine's going pink to orange. If I place my cursor underneath this bar and I click one time, I get like this little house icon, right? And this is a color stop. And what I can do is I can click on the little square right here in the color stop, double click, and I can pick another color. I'll pick blue. Click OK. So now my gradient is changing pink, blue to orange, right? And you have these little diamonds under here. If you drag those are showing you where the blends happen. So you can really customize how your gradient looks. Right? I don't want it to be like that, right? Okay. Click OK and redraw the line. Redraw the gradient. Right? Short line, you get just a little bit of blue, right? Long line, I get a nice gradual blend. Right? Or I can do horizontal, I can do up to this way, do top down, however you want. Okay?
Okay.
Andrew, you good?
Yep.
All right, save your file and then turn off your selection, Control D. I am at the top of page 8.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Go ahead and select the type tool. And I'm going to choose the font Cooper Black. Or excuse me, yeah. Cooper Black. I like it because it's nice and thick. You can, and we're going to fill the font with a gradient. We're going to do a different thing. So again, pick a thick gradient, or excuse me, pick a thick font. Cooper Black should be on your system. Okay. I'm going to set the font size to 120 points. And I'm just going to click anywhere in the image, and I'm going to type shoe in all capitals. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Select the move tool, and I'm going to move the shoe right over here in the middle of the shoe. Okay. Now, this shoe layer over here, remember I said earlier, all text is vector-based, which means it's scalable and it's based on mathematical equations, so I can resize it to any size. And right now, these letters, shoe, is tied to the font Cooper Black. If you were to send me your file right now and I were to open it up, Photoshop would need to have the font Cooper Black to be able to show the text shoe. Okay. A lot of time, what I'm going to have you do in upcoming assignments is you're going to turn a text layer. Actually, what you're going to do in a lot of assignments is you're going to duplicate your text layer. We're not going to do that here. And then you're going to turn one of those duplicates, you're going to rasterize it. You're going to change it from a vector to a raster. So to do that, we're just going to do it to this one layer here. You just right click on the layer and choose rasterize type. Okay. Now you won't see any difference, but you'll see that the layer changes. I no longer have that T symbol. I can't double click the text to change it. It actually is just pixels, and I have that checkerboard showing me there's nothing else on that layer. Okay. The reason we do that so there's going to be an upcoming project that you do very soon where you're going to be designing a marketing piece that might be used here on campus. Don't freak out. It's a fun assignment, I promise you. But whenever you create things to send to a printer, a lot of times what you'll do in your file is you'll duplicate every text layer and then you rasterize one of them so that when you send the file to the printer, if they don't have the font, they can print the layers that have been rasterized instead because those are just pixels. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fill this shoe with a gradient. So first we have to select the letters. So the easiest way to do it is pick the magic wand tool, okay, and set the tolerance to 10. We'll set it low. We know each letter is the same color, so a low tolerance will work. And it's super important to have add to selection up here on the options bar. And then just click one time inside each letter, excuse me, and you'll see that you have all 4 letters are selected, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Go to your gradient tool, and you can either use the same gradient or you can pick something super ugly. I'll go for this one, and then come out here and draw that gradient line, and you'll see that the shoe gets filled. The 4 letters get filled with that gradient. Okay. You can redraw the line this way, this way, this way. As long as my selection is active, right? There we go. Did you get it?
Yeah.
All right. Control S, Control D. Close your file. Questions on that?
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
Okay, the last thing is go ahead and open up the Practice 4 JPEG. And I want you to resave it as a PSD file with your name appended to the end of it. There you go. And I'm going to double click the hand tool to zoom it in.
So, resave.
Let me know when you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready to.
All right, so let's go ahead and duplicate the background layer. I'm just going to drag it over the new layer icon. And we're going to call this one Color Cow. Okay. So in this case, I want to change the pink color to something else. And so to make this selection, that might be a little bit harder to make, right? So yeah. I'm going to show you another way to select something based on color. We're going to go up to Image, Adjustments, Replace Color. Okay, and I get a little dialog box, and hey, that's what you have in here is a little preview window. This is a mask, okay? And what's going to happen is it's going to show you what is going to be selected. So we're going to make some changes here. I want you to set the fuzziness to 62, okay? And I want you to make sure there's a check mark next to localize color clusters. That means it's going to pick anything it finds that's similar in color. And I want you to make sure selection is chosen right down here. And I want you to pick the add to sample, the one with the plus, okay? And then once you've done that, and make sure you move this dialog box so you can see the cow, I want you to come up to the cow with your cursor. I'm literally just going to click, hold, and drag over some of the pink. And do you see how it picked up more pink in my little mask? Can you see how everything that's white here, that represents the pink color?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what's happening is this is active right now. So right now in here, in this tool, this replace color, we know that everywhere that's white, whatever changes we now make down here, hue, saturation, lightness, that's going to change. All right. So I only selected a little bit in the center. If you wind up selecting too much, like you get too, if I come over here and I get, I came down here, whoa, that's way too much, right? I need to come out and I need to use the subtract. All right. So I can just come in here and make sure I'm just getting the pink. Okay. So now, if you come over here to hue, that hue represents color, you can change that to 42, and you can see it already kind of changed it to be a little bit orange or brown, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to go with a crazy color, over here where it says result, pick a color, and now I've got a green cow. It also affects this part down here as well, but this is a nice, just another way to select color, or to just get some type of a different kind of effect to your image. You can click OK. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Save your file. That's all we did on this one. All right. So at this point, we're at the end. We've completed all the mini tutorials. So you're going to turn in. So you still have one more part to do. You have to do the part that's on your own, but you've already completed the first 4 PSD files. So both of you, when you turn them in, you're going to, no matter what assuming you turn the right files, you'll get the full points for that. So what I want you to do now is I want you to make a postcard, okay, for 30 points on your own. You need to use any one of the 4 PSD files. So I'm going to open the other ones just to, all right, here are all of them. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, you can use any one of these to make a postcard. All right, and you have to So what I do is so for 10 points, so 5 points you need to add. So if you were to start with this one, you could keep the come and get away, but you need to add another text layer, right? And add a layer style to it, okay? And then for an additional 20 points, you need to import another graphic, one of these other images, right? So you could do the cow or the shoe, or you could start with the shoe file and add the cow or the woman. You can do whatever you want. You can mix and match them however you want. And you would be really surprised what people turn in. It's amazing, let me tell you. And so I have a list of things we did in this assignment. You want to add at least 4 more things, okay? And then I want you to name the file, okay? If you want to start with a separate file and bring these images into it, you can. I've had students start with another file and then bring these images and another image in. Like you can really just do whatever you want, but make sure you meet my minimum requirements. The most important thing for everybody watching this is from this point on, when I ask you to do extra things, I want you to include a list of what you added. In the comments of Canvas, you can say clipping mask, layer effect, blending mode, whatever they are, list them out. That will help me grade your assignment, because if you don't list it, I have to figure it out, and I might not know what you did. It might not be totally obvious, so you don't want to miss the points. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so questions?
So for the postcard, it's 2 pictures or 2 of the selected images that we did.
Any of these 2, yep. And
So
then
we
you can add more if you want.
So we have to like put them together?
Yes.
Okay. Like merge? Not is it merge?
So let me show you something here. I'm going to close this one and I'm going to close this one. So I have this and the cow. All right. Here's a little tip. If I come up to window, arrange, 2 up vertical, that will put the 2 images side by side. Okay. That's one thing. And then if I come over here to mini lesson, right? If I pick the move tool, if I click the color cow layer, I can drag and drop it right inside of here.
Oh, okay.
If I go window, arrange, consolidate all the tabs, now I brought it in. It's a layer. I can make it wherever I want. I can pull it around, right? I could add a layer mask to it. So I could go layer, layer mask, hide all, do my little circle fill, edit fill with white. Look at that. Now I've got, that does not look good by any means, but you're showing me that, oh, you added the picture. Okay, you added a layer mask. That's one thing you did, not bad. There we go. Right. So you could do all kinds of things. All right. I'm not saying this is what you should do. I'm just showing you how you can add things together.
Okay.
Okay. And don't forget, layer comps is one of the things you could do. So you could just do a few things and then change how they look and make different comps of them. So what I'm asking you to do is show me what you've learned up to this point. Okay. I don't expect you to spend hours and hours. Just do a few things. Okay. Remember, this is not an art class. It's a CIS class.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Do you guys have any other questions?
I'm okay.
Okay. Well, that's all I have for tonight. Thank you guys for coming in. I'm sorry I forgot to send the email out earlier today. I did send another email. My office hours are canceled tomorrow. I have to be at events all day here on campus and at district, so I can't hold my office hours. Sorry.
Okay. It's okay.
Thank you. I would rather be holding my office hours. So, all right. Well, if you guys have any questions, you know where to find me on email, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Go forth and have fun with Photoshop. I look forward to seeing what you guys create.
You'll be laughing when you see mine. I know what I want to do.
I can't wait to see it. I'm super excited.
Okay.
Okay, Maddie. I'll see you guys. Bye, Andrew. I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.